Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to have you here. For those of you who are with me for the first time, I am Nanci Trivellato. We are going to discuss about VELO, an energy technique. I'm going to describe to you in general what VELO is so that you can follow all of us. This is a live talk and I'm answering questions about VELO. VELO is a very simple technique, very easy to do. However, it may be deceiving because it's so easy, but we face obstacles. And the obstacles we face are ours alone. It's within ourselves or in the energy field around of us, in the spiritual reality around of us. And therefore, we need to understand what is happening so that we can tackle properly. And that's what I want to help you to do here. VELO is so effective, and VELO in UK and in Europe, VELO in the United States. Sometimes I just say VELO or VELO, apologize for that. But we are talking about a technique that deals with all of your chakras at the same time. And when you do this technique, you can have multiple different results and benefits. The reason why I like this technique so much is because at the same level that it boosts your energy sensitivity, your awareness of the spiritual reality around of you, of the different energies that you interact with, it also boosts your self-defense, your clarity, your capacity to apply your energy to whatever is needed, to change the energetic environment around of you. So it's a technique with multiple benefits, sorry, and therefore it's a quite safe technique. I have developed this technique through 15 years of research. And after those 15 years, I continued researching the results of VELO. And other researchers were also done to verify VELO and its benefits, how it works. And some people, they find that they naturally start disconnecting from the body. Others, they become calmer. Some, they do not feel anymore like anguish or some sort of upset feeling they would have inside of themselves. And for some people, there are even physiological changes for better. So it's very hard to say all of the different benefits because of this. But if you have my book, Vibrational State and Energy Resonance, it's a technical book, I must tell you, but it goes into every detail, including details about the type of research I did and all of the results I got. And over there, you have a complete list of the benefits of VELO technique. So for those of you interested, it is available. And I want to answer questions here exactly because the obstacles are very personal. Some things tend to repeat a lot, and I will do my best to clarify specifically about those things. But others are like very personal in terms how you sense energy and how you deal with that sensation, or how you are not aware of what sensation is there and how you deal with the lack of perception of energy while doing VELO. But what is important is that you know the procedure. For those of you also here for the first time, VELO is just a technique in which you are going to move energy at the root of your chakras, not 7, 8, 10, or 12. I studied 12 chakras. No, you are going to move energy at the root of the many hundreds of chakras you have. So you are not going to think about any chakra. It's your energy body. Your energy body is formed of chakras. And your energy body is connecting your physical body to your astral spiritual body. And therefore, the role of the energies that we manifest is key, because that's what keeps us alive, connected. That is what allows you to have intuitions and many times a sense of what is going to be right for you or not, or when there is this absence of sensing what is it that you have to do, what may be going on with your energy body. Of course, when it's not a psychological process or a mental process. But believe me, I study this a lot, and I know there are many different factors that can contribute to the context in which each of us are. But I also know that energy plays a huge, huge role in all of this. Sometimes the energy is the predominant factor or the starting factor. Other times, it's not so predominant, but it's always going to be present. And I'd love to bring more awareness about this, but not in a fluffy way, but in a way that we would bring information that would substantiate, for example, some studies in medicine. We already have evidences of how much changing our energy can change ourselves, our bodies, and the situation around. Of course, that does not mean we can just become who we are not, but it means we can improve a lot, and there's lots that we can do. But in spite of all of these studies, we still fail very much, big time, in connecting mental health, physical health, emotional health, and energetic health. And the four of them are absolutely associated. I have been working with all of this reality, which I call multidimensional life. Life is not physical, life is a mix of many different layers of reality, but all of them present here right now. Because we are in a physical body, we tend to sense more the physical reality. And I say sense more because for some people, they can absolutely witness and experience also this non-physical reality around, whatever you want to call it, spiritual, astral. I like to call it non-physical. I find it more neutral. But this is such an important factor. And when we start to integrate this, the result is that one feels more aligned. With what? With oneself. We many times are detached from who we are, from what's the purpose of our life, from what is it that we really, really, really want and need to accomplish to feel fulfilled. And all of what we learn and all of the different information that comes to us tend to conflict and confuse us more and more. So that's why I like to study so much and so much in depth this reality. And for the past perhaps 23 to 25 years, I have also working on one-on-one basis. And it allows me to learn so much because not only I can help, but I can see the so many different situations that one faces when trying to go a step ahead into changing themselves and their lives. Changing our lives is easier than to change ourselves. But if we change ourselves, life changes. And that's it. And I feel that it is brilliant. It is a rich life when we can live something that is not only stuck to this physical level only, this material level only. And this is my endeavor. Without fantasies, without wishy-washy things, and more based on evidence, logics, and research data to the extent possible. And this is what I bring here. Today I'm answering questions about VELO for this complexity that I just described. And quickly going through it, I said VELO is something that we work through all of our bodies, all of our chakras. So energy simply moves within our bodies, almost as if it were following our bones, our skeleton structure, and goes and flows from head to toe. And that's it. Simple like that. But then all of the information that is impregnated, accumulated in each of our chakras, and even information sometimes from previous lives that we are unconscious of, will also be participating in this process, and contaminations from things we have faced and lived, from people we have met in our everyday life, contaminations in our chakra. All of these are being worked on when we are moving our energy in this way, in deep levels, deep layers of our energy body. And then that's why the complexity comes. Thank you again for all of you who are here with me. It's great. I see here some friends that had been some time I was not seeing the past lives. Olivier, Jean-Marc, thank you guys. I received questions since before we started, and there are questions from Barbara and from Ray Henny. It's the first time that I am seeing Ray here. Be very welcome. I cannot answer your questions in this live because I wanted to focus this only on VELO. Your questions were not about VELO. And whoever comes and watch this live, I want them to find consistent information. But I will answer your question in a future live talk that we do, or perhaps even I do an exclusive video only to answer that and I publish, okay? So I want to let you know that I noticed, I read, I acknowledged. And that's it. So I will answer question 1 from everybody, and then question 2 and question 3. I will go as far as possible. And I have Lloyd here. Hi, Lloyd. It's been some time. Also, I don't see you here. When I did VELO, 2 hours a day for a while, focusing on sleep, it worked. I guess we spoke about that in one of our lives, right? But when I turned my VELO focus to creativity, I find myself writing songs at 3 a.m. instead of sleeping. Advice? I need to ask you here what time you did your VELO for creativity. Because if you did perhaps closer to your sleep time, it could have activated your brain too much. VELO activate your brain, but not in a way that you are anxious or hyperactive. No, in a way that it's productive, gives some clarity of thinking, and therefore we have inspirations, we have ideas when VELO is working properly, and that's part of what we want to discuss here. But I will get there. And therefore, I don't see any conflict in what you are telling me. The only thing that you should consider is what time do I do VELO so that I have a calm night of sleep, and therefore I am able to be productive and creative next day. But some people, and you have to take that into consideration, they like to be creative and produce late in the night, and therefore sometimes in the middle of the night. If that is the case, it has nothing to do with VELO. So you worked on your VELO, your mind was more creative, but at that time is when you are productive. And sometimes we need to adjust a lot to be able to shift those hours to hours that make sense and work to us. So take that into consideration, because otherwise I find this normal. Okay? Very good, Lloyd. Thank you. And I'm glad to see you started sleeping better. So now the problem is different. That's it. Evolving and developing and changing little by little. Very nice. Giorgio is here saying that found our channel recently and has been practicing. Great, I'm glad to hear, and I hope to hear your experiences in a future talk. Thank you so much. Darlene, how are you doing, Darlene? what is the best position to be in for VELO? Can I sit? How do I visualize the energy flowing in different positions? That is a great question that brings a lot of doubts, I guess, at the moment of the actual practice. Let me say something to all of you guys. If you are not subscribed to my Instagram page, you take a look there, because often I publish small videos with tips. And recently I published one about this. That's why I'm remembering of mentioning this to you. But the idea here is, if the energy flow is in your energy body, and that's what it is, but your energy body is aligned with your physical body, therefore is in a way inside your physical body, in a different dimension, but it's inside. So when you do VELO, you are going to move the energy inside your body. We want to go as deep as possible. We are not talking about physical depth only, we are talking about a multidimensional thing. But in practical terms, when you do the exercise, the best is to think at the core of your body. And for me, I try to kind of connect with my bones. I just said at the beginning, because this is a common question. If I am sitting, it's going to follow my bones, therefore the position that I am at, and will make the curves that it normally does when I'm sitting. But if I am lying down, it's going to be like this. If I am standing, it's going to be like this. If I am in the sofa, just enjoying, so it's going to be like this. That is okay. What happens here is not the difficulty of the position. What happens is that when we move energy, or when some people move energy, they tend to focus on sensations. Never focus on sensations when you are doing VELO. I'm not saying you cannot sense. You can, and it's great if you do. But focusing on sensation is different. What I mean by focusing on sensation is paying attention on what you are feeling, paying attention on where the energy is and what effect it's producing in each of your chakras. If you do that, you are not going to have a very effective VELO. Because what is going to happen is that you will distract your mind 100%, if possible, of your focus, your attention, your decision, your willpower should be on moving energy. When the attention is on sensing, then we keep tracking too much our physical body. Like, I'm here, now I'm here. Am I sensing here? And what about my throat? And you will feel it once in a while. But that is not the best way to do VELO. Because when you do VELO, you want to do a flow that is steady, that produces some sort of frequency of cycle, up, down, that would be stable. And if you keep following too much, you don't do this one flow. Some people, they are sitting, for example, they start moving their energies. They do 1, 2, 3, like, because they are sitting, so they're with their hip bent, their knees bent, and this is only here. For the energy, this means nothing. Energy is multidimensional, it's not physical. We keep limiting ourselves to the boundaries of the physical reality. So you will focus on your energy and you will go down to the sole of your feet, of the energy body, which is inside your physical feet now. But if you leave your body, it will be different. So you follow the position of your body. I recommend that until all of you guys have practiced a lot and have great development with VELO, that you do not do it with your bodies too much crossed, like for example in lotus position or with arms crossed. Will that prevent you from moving energy? Not at all. Not at all. It doesn't make a difference. But your brain, it's very difficult. You are coordinating an action with your energy body, not an action with your physical body, which is already new. And then you want to coordinate that action and at the same time think, my arm is here, but at the same time it's here, but this hand is here. It creates confusion for no need. Put your body in a position that is simple. Maybe you sit, but you put your legs straight, for example. It makes it much easier. Or you sit like this for a moment. So your legs are straight and you are slightly reclined. And then you do until you start having more control of the flow. And when you do, it will no longer be an issue at all. I hope I could answer Darlene, but your question is a very common question, so I'm glad you brought it here. And Giorgio brought the question to us. Great. And I've been practicing a form of meditation, body scan vipassana, and qigong that resembles very much VELO technique for many years now. But not having any OBE, what am I missing or wrong? Two things I wanted to discuss. OBE is very complex. Sensing energy, controlling energy, cleansing your chakras, applying energy is super simple when compared to OBE. That does not mean OBE is difficult. I said it's complex. Why? Because there are many variables that operate while you are having an OBE or aiming at having an OBE. So there could be different reasons here that we would need to research more deeply. But in terms of energy, if we compare, for example, Vipassana with VELO or VELO, what is the difference? Both are similar procedures, but in Vipassana, your attention is not in your energy, is in your body, in your internal condition, some cases, for some procedures, even in your breathing. And energy follows, because energy follows where our attention is, what we are thinking of naturally. In our model of VELO, what we do is that attention is on the energy only. That's it. And because attention is there, it is more effective. Nothing is wasted. So what you would achieve, for example, in 10 days of Vipassana, there are some Vipassana retreats that must be lovely. I am very curious one day, perhaps I join one. But what would take you 10 days to get there if you do VELO for 1 hour, correctly done? So it may require some training. You reach the same results, and then you can grow much beyond. So I think I even mentioned that in my book, Vibrational State, that the idea behind is similar, but the way it is operationalized is different. And because we are dealing with energy in the case of VELO, because in the case of Vipassana, there are many different approaches, focuses, objectives. In the case of VELO, what we want is move the energy, activate all chakras, almost like flush your energy body from inside, reach each area, massage, scrub, move. So then you start changing the actual mechanics of your energy body. And it therefore produces difference in all levels. We or you would become more sensitive, like you go to a place that something is wrong there, you will be able to notice based on the energy quality without being affected. That is the beauty of VELO. It gives you awareness, but gives you also strength, does not make you vulnerable. But you will start noticing more things. And you will have more out-of-body experience. But it's not only having more in terms of detaching, but also becoming aware when you are already in an out-of-body experience, because the out-of-body experience happens. but we don't realize it, we don't remember. Sometimes we would be in an out-of-body experience acting mechanically, not even focusing or becoming aware of the fact that we are outside the body. So that's what we want to change. So I'm going to give you some tips, okay, Giorgio? I hope what I mentioned about Vipassana and VELO is clear and made sense. If you would do a technique, for example, to start melting down your energetic interface, your energy body, they are one and the same. But if you work to start melting down that energy, what you should do is VELO, because you reach much more in a short period of time. And try and think that you want to become conscious when you are in a dream, or in a lucid dream, or in a projection outside your body. Maybe a projection that you are not so conscious, and therefore you don't know you are projected. But if you saturate your mind, if you prepare strategies that helps give you more and more focus, intention of remembering of VELO when you are asleep. Doesn't matter what situation you are asleep. You remember of VELO, you do VELO. If you are in an out-of-body experience, you become more lucid. You become alert of what environment you are in. There were cases for me in which I used VELO technique to change dimensions when I was outside the body. I ended up being kind of trapped in a place, not really trapped, but let's say it was not pleasant, and I was there and I wanted to get out of there. And how do I get out? Because there is no door, there is no road. I am simply there in that environment and I just appeared there. What would I do? So immediately I thought, or maybe even a spirit mentor gave me the recollection, do VELO. And then when I started doing it, immediately I felt very easily, it's so much easier to do it when outside the body as compared to inside the body. Much easier. And when I did it, I immediately felt like the activation of my energy, and boom, I disappear from that place and I am in a different dimension. Much better, much better, which I could enjoy. I don't remember much of my experience from that point on, but I remember until the point that I could shift dimensions. So it would help if you do the technique during a dream. It will make you realize that's a dream and become conscious, and it turns into a very good lucid dream. Sometimes it jumps straight from dream to out-of-body experience, conscious. And depending on the condition, if you are too close too close to your body, it may end up bringing you closer to the body, or it ejects you out. You do not know which one will be. But frankly, that is the best choice, because you will either way become more conscious, more lucid. Either way, you will realize more the effect that is going on in the energy around of you. It will give you more capacity to discern in which dimension you are and what to do. And therefore, it's worth doing it. We use VELO in our everyday lives. Every day, all the time, when needed. But if you, who are here with me now, are still practicing, you have to practice. It's not when needed. And I guarantee you, it is needed in many moments. Until you align, adjust, you remove all contaminations, and you cleanse all of those different aspects of your energy that I mentioned at the beginning. So you practice, you establish a routine, and you practice. I find that an effective way of practicing, that would be a minimal, if possible. If you do one every day, it's great. But I find a minimum, more effective ratio if you do 3 per day, morning, afternoon, and evening, and not necessarily when you are going to bed. Maybe when if you get home from work, for example, late in the evening, or early in the evening, better saying, then you do that 3 times per day, and you will start seeing results sooner. And again, Giorgio, you do not have to let go of other practices you do, if you do other practices, but you must notice, because some practice, like some types of meditation, they train the individual to go inwards. If you understand what I mean, the attention, the focus is a trip inwards. And in this case, we want to go to a trip that is outwards. You want to travel to other dimensions. So it's the other way around. But it's worth integrating all of these ideas. I hope I could help. If not, you leave me a question too at the end, and if we get time, I will go through it and move beyond with this idea. Is that okay? Yes? I hope so. And I have here John. Hi, Ron. Hi, John. How are you? Does VELO operate in the same way as energy balloon or a prayer of protection? No, it's completely different, John. I'll try to explain the mechanics of it. These procedures you mentioned, they may help in certain situations, and there is nothing wrong with them. But if you would be, for example, in an environment, or you are outside the body, or you are asleep and not very conscious, and there would be other spiritual presences around, or it's a tough day at work, or even worse, the workplace is not so good in terms of the quality of the energy, then you are all the time kind of under some pressure, immersed in that quality of energy. When one does techniques like creating a balloon, or maybe putting oneself like in a cocoon, or thinking of light, it helps temporarily, and sometimes instead of creating a true protection, it creates a distraction. So if your mind were sensing very clearly a negative presence, you disconnect with that presence because you start paying attention to something else. Does it mean that spiritual presence that was disturbing that entity let go and went away? In some cases, yes, but in some cases, no, not at all. If you have someone, spiritually speaking, who is around, who knows how to get to you, knows what buttons to push, knows your energy, is familiar with your type of thinking, with your desires and fears, they will know how to get close to you, and sometimes you don't even notice. Why not? Because that presence became so familiar that the energy resembles, is similar. Therefore, these techniques, which are good, can be done, can help, they fail in many cases. I have practiced them before VELO, although I do VELO for maybe 35 years, but I have practiced these other techniques and many different types of techniques. I'll tell you a little bit about my experience, and maybe it can illustrate. Because I was so sensitive, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I knew someone had waken me up. But it was not physical, there was nothing I could do. And sometimes I would go and look for different tools. So somebody told me, oh, buy crystals, you feel more loved, you feel better, everything will work well. And I bought all sort of crystals and I put there in my house, and believe me, I wanted so much. But it didn't change anything. I continue being who I am. And then somebody teaches me a breathing technique from yoga. I love yoga, I must say. I advocate, and I think it helps in so many ways, including with energy. But we are not talking about self-defense. And I love yoga, and I would do the breathing techniques because this makes you focus on such and such, a good energy will come. But after a while, I would sense those not pleasant at all energies around of me. And my focus was to be better, to be positive, to think of a better world, to be of use to humankind. This is who I always have been. And therefore, perhaps thinking positive helped a bit. But at the end of the day, I would still have that feeling in which my well-being, my inner state was not peace, trust, which is, and let me repeat, which is the natural state of all of us, at least all of us who are interested in these studies. Why do I say all of us who are interested? Because we know something beyond exists. For some people, they don't know, they don't care. If you tell them, they cannot even relate to what you say. If you tell them, we must look for our internal, inner growth, because that is important. We take this with us after we die. For some of them, they don't care. Give me money, that's it. Okay, so we are not those. Not that we don't want money, we do, but in the right way. However, in those moments there, when I would do all of those practices, it never helped until I learned something similar to VELO. And I started adapting that technique. The technique that I used to develop VELO and that I researched was the technique that I used, which was an adaptation of what I have learned. And my focus on depth of the energy, that's what helped me, what made difference. So many different cases. Let's say I would have a meeting or a presentation and I would be anxious, almost feeling with not enough self-confidence for no reason. Everything was good. I knew what to do. Everything was good. But I would feel energetically unstable. Then what I would do? Different techniques, all of those, and sometimes moving energy superficially, which I always say, if you want good results, you go deep in your energy layer there. So I would move energy superficially and fast. It would help a tiny bit, tiny bit. So let's say I would get 25% better, 30% better, but that didn't change who I was at that moment. That didn't revert the condition. That didn't make much change. Never did, never. And then I started working and moving the energy more there in the root of my chakras. I say root of my chakra now because, guys, I studied for almost 20 years to understand the technique. But at the time, all I knew is that I wanted to move, and my expression in my mind would be more volume of energy. Today I call it more quantity. You want to move not only, you see, like just a little drop. No, if possible, you would want to move a bucket of your own energy inside your body. Oh, and then it goes down. But this is not easy. This is not, that's when I started noticing this is not easy because we have energy that are stagnant in some areas. We have blocked energies. We have sometimes even energetic intrusion that contaminates our energy body, and then you try to move, but it's all intoxicated in a way by other energies. So it makes VELO harder. That is it. And if any of you who are here now listen to this talk and say, but it's so hard sometimes when I do, oh, then I'm going to tell you, welcome aboard. This means you are doing it. Hard sometimes. It cannot be hard 100% of the times, through all the time, because if you do a VELO session that is 30 minutes, at some point it changes, becomes harder, becomes easier, cannot be the same easy or the same hard all the time. If it is, you please come in this chat here or in another chat and talk to me. There's something that you are doing wrong. But how do I know what is it? You need to tell me. Sometimes it's a tiny detail. But then I started doing VELO in that way that I say, which is the way I teach here. And there were moments, John, in which I would feel like Superman. I could stand up and cleanse the energy around, and I started taking control, not only of my own energy, but the energy of my house. The other techniques didn't give me that. Even VELO, if not done properly, doesn't give that much. It always helps, as the other ones I did, and even when I did in a way that was not so perfected, it always helped, but not to the same degree. Because what VELO does is that it not only protects, but it starts changing the information impregnated in each of our chakras in a way that it becomes harder for some external energies to get closer. It even, I'll change the way I was going to say it. It even starts cutting connections with some of these entities that in some cases have been disturbing us since childhood, which for me was my case since my, not childhood, but maybe my teens. I would sense those specific types of energy that I felt there. Therefore, this is completely different. It's almost as if we have an energetic code in our energy. In the same way we have a genetic code, our DNA, our physical body, we have an energetic code in our energy body, in our chakras. And when done for time enough, in the proper manner, time enough not only longitudinally, meaning for how many months or years you do, but also how long your sessions, how well you do them. When done for long enough, it brings your energy code to the ideal level it was before you were born. Because when we are born, we forget who we were. We have, our childhood, which some people had very nice childhood, but the majority didn't, because our parents, they have flaws, and they, even if they want to do right, sometimes they do wrong. And imagine those that never cared to do right. Believe me, there are those. So we need to readjust. And then, only then, we gain the strength to see who we are. Because then we are who we are. Otherwise, we are a mix of many different energy. So that's why I privilege VELO. I don't know if I could explain, but so going back, yes, all of these techniques are great, but if you want something more effective, and if I want just to sense energy. So let's say I am over there in Portugal at the IAC campus, and I go to one of our consciousness labs, and I'm doing an experiment. I can let go of my energy and do different procedures and create a bubble and expand and enjoy. I can do it. But if I am in a place where it's really not nice, or I am in a meeting and people are trying to force an idea on me, make me feel constrained, or anything like that, believe me, the only technique I know of that works is VELO, and it works superbly. So that is why, John. Okay. Inner love, hi, welcome. You asked me what are the signs that VELO was effective? I suppose from what we discussed so far, you kind of have an idea. How do you know it was effective? Because it improved your inner balance. It improved the clarity of your thoughts. That is it. It's not, it made me happier. Of course, if your thoughts are clear and you feel balanced, you are happier. But not the other way around. I feel happier and ha 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 ha. No, I feel happier and strong and balanced and clear. And I know who I am and I know what I'm going to do. And I know I can. And I know which direction to go. This is the type of feeling. I'm not saying the exact expression, but this is the type of feeling you should get. But sometimes you could be, for example, especially if you are very sensitive, as I was, that I just described a moment ago. If you are very sensitive, then when you do VELO sometimes, there could be other energies, how would I say, trying to affect you at the time you are doing VELO. And then it's kind of an arm wrestling. It's a kind of a struggle, but in a good sense. You know there's something coming from inside or from outside, and you are doing VELO to control your energies and bring your energies to your best condition, to your natural pattern. And then that may present some difficulties because of this external force. But think with me, if you don't do VELO, that force doesn't even need to be a force. It's just to be the energy around it already penetrated you. And some of us, I don't know if it is your case, but some of us who work helping people or who work teaching people or dealing with this sort of reality, it can be very complex because you work with someone, you exchange a lot of energy with that one person. You have to if you want to do a good work. Otherwise, for me, it's like I'm going to, you imagine, no, just a parenthesis, nothing to do with the thing here, but I want to clarify what's in my mind. Imagine when you go to a therapist and they don't even involve themselves in any way. They just take some notes, turn their back to you. Okay, you can talk, speak. They're not getting involved. You are doing the work alone. But when someone, and there are some people who say they are going to do energy work, but that's what they do. They don't do anything really. But there are some people who say they are going to do energy work and help others and teach others, and they really do it. And then there could be residues left on your energy body. You have to do VELO to cleanse it. Are there other ways to cleanse? Yes. Sometimes you go to a movie theater and it relax, or you do something, but still some residue may stay. And it takes you a long while. If you do VELO, you do it immediately. You go thorough. So the fact that it cleanses one energy and cut connections that are undesirable is very important. So what I'm saying is, look for how you feel. And again, if you are just joining me now, watch from the beginning. When I said it's normal that some sessions are hard, others are easier. It's normal. If you don't have that, we need to examine. Either you are so good that there's nothing that disturbs you energetically speaking around, or maybe you are not paying attention to the right things. Okay? Thank you. Opa, sorry. So I have here Olivier. How, Olivier? Nice to see you here. How not to get bored with VELO? When is it not functional? If it's boring, probably it's not functional. Probably. Because if it's boring, you feel like empty, nothing going on. Is that right? So That may be the condition. But let me see, I asked you here, right, for you to tell me what you felt. Here it is. So sometimes after moving energy from top to bottom, it is difficult to invert the direction from bottom to top. And I can feel like abandoning. No. So let me go to this point here. When we move energy up and down, for most people, at least until they have much greater control of the energy flow, for most people, it's easier to send down than to bring up, or vice versa. Easier to bring up than to send down. That is normal. And that is because the energy in one area of our body, like the upper part or lower part, is more loosened, and that affects how we feel the energy flow. It's not how it moves, it's how we feel. Now, when we send the energy, for example, you bring the energy to the top of your head. And let's try to adjust and do like this, okay, Olivier? You bring to the top of your head. Your attention is only at the top of your head. And once you sense it, you start pushing the energy down. You don't need muscle tension. No. You do not need to push and say, do it, I have to do it, I want to do it, I am going to do it now. No. But you need to focus, to concentrate, and to trust. Trust, because otherwise you say, I'll send my energy down, but I'm not sure I can. It doesn't work. I'm going to send my energy down. Perhaps I'm not yet 100% good at this, but I'll do what I can. Look at the difference. So your focus must be on the movement of the energy, not on how you sense, how well you do, if it's going to give you results, because any of these things that you think during the process will reduce it. And all of the nice feeling of VELO, which is delicious, that is, you are playing with your energy, you are feeling more relaxed, you are more in tune with yourself, with life. It is delicious. So all of that gets lost. For some people, it gets lost because they want to have a vibrational state. Forget the vibrational state. Enjoy the process and the vibrational state will come. For other people, it's because, for example, they are moving their energies and they want to leave their bodies, or they want quick results, or they only have a few minutes. So I have a few minutes, I have to do it so much now. You do your maximum, but without the inner stress. I mean the psychological stress of it. There is no stress, but there is a great desire and commitment to move your energy. It's very different. And some people, they are stressed, but no commitment. Yeah, I know I'm not going to do, or maybe it happens, or hey, spirit mentors, help me. No, it's normal. We do it. All of us can, and all of us do, and it's not difficult. We have to find what obstacles may be there. So then, in this case here, what I recommend is that you bring your energy up, for example. Make sure it reached the top of your head. Do not start sending it down before, because sometimes the energy is moving like this, reaching here, but it's still coming, and we already start sending down. So instead of gaining momentum, we counteract the flow of the energy. So you bring it up, okay, it got here, now you send it down. You're playing with your energy body. And then you go reach the sole of your feet. You sense the skin in the sole of your feet. You can sense the skin. I'm not saying sense your chakra. You sense in the skin, go there, and then you know energy is there. Hopefully you sense. If you don't sense, that's okay. And then you bring the energy up, going through your body and reaching the top of your head. And you do this without the rush of coming, invert, and vow, and down, and then, because it is difficult if you do like this, non-stop, not even reach the top of your head and it's already going down, for example. Wanting to sense with the same intensity the energies coming up as they go down, or vice versa, because when it's not there, it's not there. The only way for you to make the sensation to be there and be equal is by doing it. And believe me, when I started doing it, I would sense the energy going down, I wouldn't sense the energy come up. And it took me maybe a few months, but I kept observing and training and doing until I would sense equally. So it is what it is. I'm not sure how I can help you more with that, Olivier. I'm going to go up here. You said I had several times a beginning vibrational state though, while you were doing VELO or spontaneously afterwards. That's important to answer. Here is Jean-Marc. Hi, Jean-Marc. Missing you there at the campus and our chats. Hope you are doing well there. I know it's super hot. Somebody here wrote, I am speaking from France, 29 degrees Celsius. Whew. I can imagine what is it then at the campus in Portugal, because it's super hot. Very good. I want to go back to where I was so I don't lose track. Okay, here I am. And this I already replied. Remember, please, to write question at the beginning so you help me, okay? And only questions about VELO at this specific live talk. I practice similar techniques like VELO, but there is more harder and deeper practice needed to better astral projection. So you practice similar techniques, but you feel VELO is harder and deeper. And is it needed to improve your astral projections? Did I get you right, Dave? So I'm trying to decipher here what you meant. If this is what you meant, no, you do not need not even any technique. You can have great astral projections without any technique. But when we want to control our astral projections and produce them at will, then we face some challenges because we need to start perfecting the different angles and attributes of this specific phenomenon, the out-of-body experience, so that we get closer and closer and it becomes easier and easier. So we do not need VELO or not even any other technique to leave the body. But if you do VELO, what is it going to do? And why is this so effective? Because if you were here from the beginning, based on what we discussed, there is this energy layer connecting the physical body to our astral spiritual body. And this energy layer is like some sort of energetic interface, is our energy body with all of our chakras. Therefore, if our energy is more stagnant, is not flexible, it's focused because of the focus of our mind on the physical body, on the physical reality, then it's harder to be able to detach at will, because we feel like we start getting there and we come back. We start and we come back because it's not completely loosen the energy. So what you want to do with VELO is melt down. In the research that I did about VELO, I learned that the number one thing that it improves in your energy system is making it more loose, more flexible. That's the number one thing. And believe me, I have researched hundreds of people longitudinally throughout 1 year in different moments of periods of time, but I followed them for at least 1 year. So I know how it works. And that's why VELO is so effective. But you do not need to be like, I have to do it in a way, otherwise I don't leave the body. No, you have to do it. You start improving here and there. You will unblock one chakra and discover more. you become more sensitive to what is around, and you want to become sensitive and lucid enough to the point of distinguishing if there is any spiritual presence preventing you or disturbing you when you try to leave the body consciously. But for this, you need lucidity and you need control of your energy. There's when the complexity comes, and there's when VELO is the best technique. I hope I could explain, okay? That was a very good question. And then I'm trying to, if you guys don't write question, I have to read. Olivier, I usually practice VELO for no more than 5 minutes. So with 5 minutes is okay. No more than 5 minutes, could be 2, could be 3. 2, 3 is not enough when we are not very experienced. It's better than nothing, but not enough. And what's going on, Olivier, is that you are only with the difficult part and bad part of VELO, which is the energies are still stuck and you are still trying to make it flexible and move, grabbing control, still unblocking things. There may be other energies interfering. You are at the very beginning of the arm wrestling process. I say arm wrestling because sometimes we have to insist. And then if you stop with 5 minutes, you don't feel much of the benefits because it didn't get to the point of giving you the benefits. It's not getting to the point of feeling very enjoyable because it's not so clear the sensation and the process. And therefore, of course, it's boring. Try to use time. You don't have to do always more than 5 minutes. No, 5 minutes is good. But once in a while, you do have. So let me propose something to you, okay? You do, and then we talk in our next live talk, and you tell me. But please do. You do VELO for a minimum of 20 minutes in one session. So you do your small ones. Okay, small ones, different moments in a day. Okay. You do your 20 minutes minimum VELO session, either early in the morning or late in the evening before you go to bed. You see what moment it works better for you, and do it until you start getting that feeling that I mentioned before. Okay, I'm more relaxed. Okay, I feel more in tune with myself. I feel more in peace inside of myself. And I kind of feel I grab a hold of the energy. I can now know that I am moving it. I'm not sensing much, but I know I'm moving. So this is the point you have to get to. Then you stop. And observe if doing late in the evening does not make you too awake. If it does, you do it 2 hours before going to bed. But without this, it's almost like a threshold. You never pass through that point. And then it is boring. It's boring. But once you pass through that point, then you will do small ones and it will be enjoyable. Even the small ones. Why? Because you already produced the change that needed to be produced in your energy. Okay? Inner love, I guess, is answering here to us, right? I tried using VELO to astral projection and I felt vibration, but wasn't able to move on the projection part. What can I do to surpass this? You tried to do right before you did the technique. VELO works very well in this way. Like you are going to do a technique to leave the body and you do good VELO session. But it's good if you don't tense your body, if you don't get anxious with the technique. Because if you tense your body and get anxious, you improve the quality of your energy body, but you go back into the quality of your relaxation, of your emotional connection, psychological connection with your projection. So what I would say is observe what time you are doing your VELO. And it has to be a longish session so that you go to the point of really making your energy more malleable, more flexible. And making your energy more malleable, it can be 1 hour VELO or 30 minutes. You need to be able to assess that. But don't worry, everything is learning process. You do it. And when you go do your energy, I meant your projective technique, you lie down, you focus on the technique, and you just assess if your energy is loose, if you can focus on your energy body. And that's what you start doing. Have you read my book, Vibrational State? Oh my goodness, not this one, another one. Astral Projection, a primer. If you have not, take a look at my website and download it. And all of you who are here with me and have not read the book, you should, because it shows how VELO interfaces with astral projection, conscious astral projection, and how to use it. Then you read there. The other thing you want to be sure is that there is no fear present. And sometimes we have unconscious fears. And be sure that there is no sort of energy pocket, like fields of energy around, that would interfere with your lucidity, with your feeling towards the astral projection. So these are the tips. I would need more information to be more direct into what you could do. But this is it. Now, guys, out-of-body experience, producing it at will, you can do easily. There are days that you do a technique and boom, boom, you are out. But controlling it, knowing how to use the experience up there, that's not so easy. And but sometimes even doing a technique, I know people that they have been doing techniques for 20 years, 25, 30. They even get mad. Why it doesn't work for me? I completely understand why they get mad. But what is the obstacle? You have to identify. But leaving the body is one thing. Having a conscious out-of-body experience is a different thing. Look my logics. Because if we detach, we leave the body, but when we are out, we are so conscious, not conscious enough to interpret what we see, to be able to identify where we are, to be able to know what to do, to learn from the experience, learn. For me, this is like, whatever I do, I want to learn something. Even if I did something wrong, I want to learn something from that mistake. I find that this is the way I keep growing. And for us to take better advantage outside the body and learn and understand what's going on, we need to understand. I'm going to make here an analogy with a physical expression. The laws of paraphysics, because we have the laws of physics. One of them is gravity. If I let it go, blah, it's going to fall. What are the laws out there in the non-physical dimension? And that's why I call paraphysics, para like beyond. How do you see? How do you communicate? How do you choose where to go? When you see someone, how do you know what to do and who that is? All of this is important. Not because you need to know all of this to leave the body. Most people leave the body spontaneously, not even knowing what an out-of-body experience is. And this is how I left my body when I was a child. I didn't know, of course. But when you know, you are able to learn more and decide what information you are going to bring to your body. Because learning is key here. VELO helps a lot in that, helps a lot, because VELO makes you more lucid when you're outside the body. People who do a lot of VELO, number one, they start remembering more their dreams. And then they start having more lucid dreams, not then in sequence in time, Sometimes there is an overlapping, but that's how it grows. And then I start having more out-of-body experience, more conscious out-of-body experience, recalling more their out-of-body experience. VELO is even a technique for recollection, which I used many times, that I come back and I say, there is something I should remember, but I don't remember what that was. So then I do VELO, and sometimes the memory of the experience during the night just comes. Because remember, we would be moving energy that is in the energy body, which is the connection, the interface, the glue between the physical and the non-physical body. Hence, evidently, that is a very great way of bringing information from para-brain, the brain of the astral body, to the physical brain, and therefore we have a chance to remember. So try and use more wisely VELO for that. And when you lie down to leave the body, think of everything that you are going to learn, that you want to do. Think of what motivates you and observe what sort of energy is around. For those of you who want to go deep, I mean deep and broad, and know indeed what is an out-of-body experience, not only learning techniques and sensations, but learning every single aspect, physical body, physical environment, spiritual environment, energy, what happens out there, what you should do, what is such and such situation, how do you evolve throughout many lifetimes when you are out there. Anyone who wants to know all of this, I strongly recommend the Consciousness Development Program. This is not my course, but I am one of the instructors. I have written this course. I know deeply what's in there. And believe me, you don't get that information in other places. So whoever wants to become more knowledgeable of the many different angles and knowing for certain what to do in each situation, Consciousness Development Program is available throughout the year. You start any moment you want, and you will have monthly classes with an instructor live that is going to help you deal with the difficulties, what you felt, what you didn't feel, what was the obstacle, because it's so personal. That's why I say there are too many variables. And our way of teaching, that's why my book, Vibrational State, is a technical book. And that's why we like to decipher and research behind things, is that the more we understand, the more confidence we have, and the safer we are, and more we can decide our trajectory. And that, for me, is key. Autonomy, becoming independent, sovereign in the experiences you have. And that's what you are looking for, right? So I understand totally. I hope my tips here helped you to consider different aspects there, because sometimes fear is there because there is no certainty of what's going to happen or what to do. Hugo is telling me the hardest part is maintaining 100% of your energy on the energy movement. I am there with you totally, because to maintain this 100% concentration, it means that we are in control of our energy body. When you lose concentration too often, that is a sign that there can be energetic blockage and energetic interference. It happened to me. I'm going to tell you quickly how I observed that. When I started doing VELO in the way that I teach, I would move up and down, and I noticed after perhaps 2 3 weeks doing it, that every time that I passed through a certain area of my body, in that case I think was around the solar plexus, I would doze off, and then I would come back, and then I doze off again, and then I come back. And sometimes I would doze off for a good while. And then I thought, this cannot be coincidence, because it happens at the same moment. So I started paying more attention so that I would not allow that to happen. And I started doing other techniques with my own energy, not resorting to anything crazy, but I started doing other techniques to unblock this chakra. It's just like you send energy out, you bring in, you put energy on your own chakra, you bring attention, you breathe and you pay attention to the energy there. Anything you do that makes you more aware of that, changes a little bit the structure of that energy, it will facilitate VELO, the flow of the energy, and the flow of the energy will do the unblocking and will sort this out. Some people, every time they do VELO, some types of thoughts come to their minds, some invasion of thoughts almost, some feelings, some reactions. And then they think of what they have to do the following day. This can be just a bad habit. This can be because one is not focused on the energy, but it also can be the resistance of the energies and different type of spiritual connections around. So you have to try and focus on VELO, not thinking only, oh, I get distracted, oh, it's on me. No, you have to consider and also act on your VELO thinking. Maybe here I have to do some arm wrestling and fight and go strong because there are energy fields around or presences or contaminations of energy in my energy body, like was my case, that are preventing me from focusing. And knowing it could absolutely change how you deal with your energy during VELO. You try that, and if it doesn't work or you observe anything else, you come and tell me in a future live, okay? And I will continue here examining. I like to say that I am like a multidimensional detective, and I love it. When I can help someone dig, understand, and see all the causes of things, including non-physical causes. And that's what I'd love try to do here. So I gave you some possibilities. You will have to be the detective by yourself, okay, Hugo? And the only way for you to identify is by doing it. Very good. I'm going to the next question then. So Wendell, hi Wendell. It's been some time I don't see you here. Welcome. Can schizophrenia interfere with feeling energy during VELO? The sensation of vibration that VELO causes in the body has diminished since I discovered the disease. I don't think it would interfere, but of course, when we discover something new, of course you are doing VELO, but inside of you something changed. The information, because you know, well, I have a little bit of this condition. And VELO is going to help you, not you have to do whatever you have to do, medical treatment, whatever. But VELO is going to help you keep that under control. Because we imagine schizophrenia is so complex condition, because if it mixes with energy sensitivity, which probably you are sensitive, then it can emphasize certain aspects of this condition. And in other moments, they will be reduced. So not even, let's say, the schizophrenia will be steady enough for you to know what you are dealing with. Every case is like this. But when it comes to someone who is sensitive, even more. So what I feel here is that if you are taking any medicine, the medicine could be interfering with you sensing VELO and the vibrations. But also, I want to add another situation, that is, when we do VELO, we all change the vibration, the frequency of our energy body, all of us. But sometimes it changed just a little, so it's not enough for us to notice. Other times it changed, but we are not so sensitive to that type of sensation, maybe sensitive to others. So then we don't realize. So sensing vibrations in every VELO is normal, is natural. And what I see here is not that your VELO are necessarily being less intense or that you are sensing less. What I see is that one type of sensation you had is no longer present. But what if it's going to give way to new types of sensations, which I believe is very logical, is going to happen. So you need to create space inside of you for new types of sensations, because when the vibration is there every time, and it is, if for all of you who are watching me now, after you do VELO, if you pay attention, there is a little buzz, sometimes even during VELO. Never ever pay attention and get distracted with this buzz. That's a good thing. Energy starting to intensify. But that's not your goal. Your goal is not to sense. Your goal is to act. It's an energy action. Your goal is to grab control of your energy. So in this case here, I'd say simply give yourself some time to adjust to the medicine, to the condition, even to the knowing of that, and how you adapt your life to this knowledge and to this fact. But knowing it and doing VELO, you will find new sensations. You are able to have lucid out-of-body experience. You are absolutely able to identify many different processes during VELO. But the perceptions and the type of sensations are no longer going to be exactly as you were used to. And even we can say, but what if they were happening because they were boosted by some parallel process maybe of my mind? What if? So now it's better. So my point here is don't judge. Don't judge. Keep doing. Do it, observe. Do it and observe. Does it make sense, Wendell? So there's no bad news here. Actually, it's good. Things are starting to move on, and you stay strong there. Richard is telling us that I notice that when I relax my body and quiet my mind simultaneously, that I have better chance of a positive experience. You are talking about VELO, right, Richard? Yes, yes. Many people, they tense a lot, but the tension divert the focus of attention to the physical body, whilst the focus of attention should be the energy body. Let me say something to all of you. Sensing the energy body is not, and I'm going to repeat, is not difficult at all. I have taught in-person courses for 28 years all over the world, and then now online, which works very well. And for example, only with this course, the consciousness development program that I mentioned, I never had one student who couldn't gain sense of the perception of their energy and control of their energy. Now, the level of perception and the degree of control would vary from person to person, of course. And if they continue working, they can go to maximum. It's not a matter of being gifted. It's a matter of training. You can be a very gifted piano player, but if you practice enough, you will be able to do wonders and maybe even surpass the gifted one who did nothing. So, VELO is a matter, an energy body, energy work is a matter of training. The problem, I'm sorry to say, is that there are so many energy techniques that are actually misguided. They are not well devised. And instead of helping and reaching what they supposedly would help one to reach, they produce different effects. because people are concerned with sensing and having experiences. I know that is great. It gives us a reinforcement. But look, one can have a very clear experience that is awful and leaves them for 2 years under energy attack. No, you want the right technique. And we are, in a way, so brainwashed that it's difficult or it's dangerous or only a few people can do. But if you do, you need someone to help you. Guys, no, I'm telling you, everyone can master their energy. And everyone, therefore, can leave the body. But leaving the body requires many more other factors to be put in there. So it's a harder endeavor that you will have to dedicate more. I mean, leaving the body at will, consciously deciding what you do, where you go, and having that in a regular basis. It requires discipline and determination. Unless you were born with a great predisposition for leaving the body, but then what's the quality of the out-of-body experiences? Maybe great, and that's wonderful. But otherwise, we have to dedicate. We have to dedicate. So it makes sense. In other words, Richard, leave everything aside, focus on the energy and do it. Let's not allow any brainwashing tell us we cannot do. And sometimes the brainwashing comes from ourselves. Oh, I've never been good at this. Oh, I don't experience such and such sensation that someone described. Oh, I don't have clairvoyance. I don't see energy, therefore. This is self-hypnosis, negative one. Don't say that. It's absolutely possible, okay? I cannot emphasize how much I trust this. It's possible. And you can change your life if you change your energy. You change how you feel about your life. Question. I see here, question. I'm going to answer two more only, okay? And I'll stop. Does hemsync from Moron can help during VELO sessions? I don't think it's a problem trying, but I wouldn't say it does. I tried hemsync for a few things. The only thing it was effective for, in my case, is to help me relax, but didn't help me to leave the body, in my case, because that would bring my attention to my body and produce some sort of reactions and brain activity in my brain, which were not the proper brain activity for leaving the body. Leaving the body, the ideal is that we have almost no brain activity. If we could be in delta and then leave the body, but you see, being in delta, but still conscious. So we can leave the body and be conscious. Actually, if you put yourself in delta waves or even theta waves, without sleeping, without becoming unconscious, you will experience sensations of the disconnection of your astral body. Because it happens when we are in that deep relaxation. So you see, the problem is that we have a conditioning and a lack of ability of allowing ourselves to relax and maintain lucidity. If it were, for example, just a very gentle music and helps you concentrate, I would say it's less critical than the hemsync. If you find the hemsync indeed synchronize your brainwaves or something like this, I'd say perhaps it's not going to work much in your favor. But you try and see how it goes, Alexandre. But I'd say there are better ways. You can even say you have a very gentle music, or you put I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the name. It's not a chronometer, that you create the tempo in a music. Tack, 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 tack. Just the word escaped me now. But you put this, so the metronome. So you put a metronome there to help you focus on a regular speed, okay? Or maybe you put some water, like some sounds like a water falling or something like this, okay? Anything that helps you focus. I do without any noise, anything, because it distracts me. Music would distract me. My brain connects so much to the music and to the sound that then I don't connect as much with energy. It's easier for me to do with people talking than with music because I can connect more. But the idea here is how much you can disconnect, okay? Mhm. Um, Lloyd is telling that when he has that super creative time at 3 a.m., he did very late in the evening. Yes, maybe you try to adjust that and see what changed. And David is saying, I find it interesting how the CIA in the United States government and Russia, both and others, yes, has in the past, not so much in the past, spent a LPT, I don't know, a lot, probably it was a type, a lot of time and money on such subject. I wonder if they use techniques like VELO. I doubt it. They used different techniques. I know some of them. One day we can talk about this, and I know people who were directly involved there. But the techniques were more like a little bit more aggressive, less natural, and more focusing on remote viewing and out of body experience and this sort of thing. This is all over. Okay, guys, I guess we got to a good point here. Let me see if someone I didn't talk to asked anything about Velo that I could still help. Mhm. Last one from Loki. Hi, Loki. Sometime I don't see you here. Well, sometime that I don't show up here also, right? When we are doing Velo and there is a sturdy, thick block, almost seemingly unmovable, I know very well the feeling, believe me, difficult to move energy through, should we just direct energy around? No, no, no. You should insist more. Sometimes this happens. I'll tell you moments in which sometimes I feel this. Let's say I come back to the body and I was outside, and some place I went to or someone I met who had strange energies and got connected, and I come back with those energies. So then I am moving my energy, but my energy is mixed with that other energy. Or let's say that you are in a place, let's say you visit a even a historical place, but there are too many entities there. And the energy around is dense of such a pattern that it interferes with your energy body. Then when you start moving, you are not moving only your energy, because all of that is connected to your energy. And you could think and just say, well, then perhaps it's better that I emit energy and get rid of those energies. It's not. It's not. Don't think of energy in the same way you would think of a physical thing. Because in the moment that you emit, you are trying to send out that negative energy that you are sensing. And maybe you are not sensing, but it's there, contaminating and impregnating, making your energies less flexible. But you are trying to send that out. However, at the moment you try and do it, you connect more with that energy that is around. So that's not the right way to emit energy. And the right reason to emit energy, okay? So if you ever in this situation, any of you, what you do is VELO. You need to get rid of that yucky, dense energy before you can act, emitting or doing any other thing. And I'll tell you, sometimes it is 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes of non-stop work for that to start cracking and goes away. But once it starts, you start gaining control, quickly you go back to your normal. And every conscious projector, everybody who works with energy, everyone who is sensitive, have this once in a while. What most people do, Loki, they stop VELO. Oh, it's hard. Oh, I don't even know. It's like I'm pushing a mountain. But that's not the moment to stop, because those energy then will start creating roots. Maybe tomorrow they are no longer there. Maybe the following day it's 10%, 20% of those energy there. And that's how we start getting energy blockage that has nothing or have nothing to do with us. So it's important to act on the spot. Another thing is, if you wait to work with energies until later, it's much harder. So if you recognize anything strange that got close to you energetically, act immediately on the spot. So if you act immediately, then you have a great, great chance of very easily or much more quickly get rid of that stagnant energy. Okay, but if you experience this, believe me, you are not alone. And I bet all of you guys who are here who work with VELO have sensed this once in a while. Is that right? If you are, those of you who are here with me, tell me there if you had this experience. And then I have Dove. Hi, Dove. It's been some time I don't see you. Like to have you here. When VELO reached my head, I started feeling some sort of rumblings, as if there were mini earthquake. Do you know what this means? It can be many different things. And I guess the number one thing I have to ask you is, does that give you a sense of you being more steady, stable, and in control? Or it gives you a feeling that you do not know what's going on and your mind almost could, little by little in this process, get more distracted, more idle, like you are there but you are not. You are thinking far away but also doing VELO. If it is the second one, then you need to act in different ways. And I'm going to recommend to you, and Dovey has done many courses and participated in many things, right, Dovey? So I know you are going to follow what I'm going to say. If you notice it's the second type, it could be some sort of energy that is impregnated there and created some pattern, residue, interfering with your chakra. Don't worry, many people have this here and there, but you need to act. And if it's the first type, just activated, the energy got there, good. But for some reason, the way I read your words, it doesn't seem to me like it's the energies that are loose and it's a natural sensation, because usually it would feel slightly different. But I cannot say only based on the description. I may be interpreting wrong. That's why I'm asking you to check. So what you are going to do, if that is the case, is that I want you to work with energy here, independently of VELO. Can be before, can be after, can be in different moments. That does not precede of VELO. You continue doing VELO, but you also do your energy work with this chakra. And you will focus in this chakra, and you want to emit energy only through this chakra, but you want to be sure that you are lucid and not distracted throughout all the process. If you feel you get distracted and then the intensity of your attention starts to reduce, you go, you stand up, you go to another environment, you do something, you don't let it happen. And you emit, and you will emit impulses like stop, but each pulse is strong, as if you are breaking a bubble. You want to make the energy that is there to kind of revolve around, move, get unsettled in a good way. Because if there is a pattern of energy that is there like a patch, you want to remove it. So then you have to create movements there for this to go away. So emission of energy through that area is what I think is safe for you to do at this point. And do it for some time. Let's say you are going to do it for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, every day, for a brief moment. It's nothing, it can be any moment, okay? But with attention and knowing, I want that the energy here in this chakra be my energy only. Good or bad is mine. And then when you do VELO, that is more under control for you. Okay? Wonderful. It was a great question because it can help many people as well. So remember, we want with VELO to feel calmer, more confident, and stronger. A session that was long enough, well done enough, and managed to remove roots of energy from inside of you, contaminations, that's how you will feel. Is that going to be the most confident and in peace that you are going to feel in your life? No, but compared to your normal state, that is obvious. You can observe, yes, I am feeling more in control. Okay, but in 6 months, you're more in control, will be higher, of course. And in another 6 months, you have even other experiences, of course. And this will be your reference level, your norm start changing, okay? Your normal condition. Thank you guys so much. If you want to be with me in person, I am in the United States. I am now in Miami and I am flying to California in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be doing some in-person sessions there. If you want to take advantage, I will be in Los Angeles. And I will also be in Fresno area because a commitment showed up there. So I will stop by Fresno. If you are around and say, hey, a miracle happens, Nancy came right here. So there it is. There is this possibility. You just write to me, take a look in my website. You have a contact that is WhatsApp contact. You have email contact. Just let me know and I'll be here. And also this year, I am going to do a second version or a second edition of the Energy Force Field course. And I will bring you news little by little as we can. That is amazing, probably the strongest and best course in terms of life-changing that I offer. If you are interested, you keep an eye. I'm going to send emails. The first ones to be informed are going to be those who are in my list. And I have a limit of number of students, but hopefully there will be space for everyone. I have a limit because I follow each student throughout the process. I pay attention energetically. I want to be sure how they are. I am connected with them. I have inspirations of what to do, what to say. So therefore, for me, it's an important work that takes a lot of energy and attention and time. But I do it with great pleasure because it's wonderful and the results are worthwhile. So keep an eye. If you are not in my mailing list, you should include yourself there. It's a priority access. You also will see it in my website. Go there, click, join, and be in touch. Okay, I will do my best to be here with you with other news, other chats, other videos soon. Goodbye, and all the best to you. Ciao, ciao. Thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate.